Hello everyone, welcome back to another Transformers review, and this is another G1 Transformer. A lot of maybe older Transformer collectors would recognise this figure straight away as being Sunstreaker, which is the brother of Sideswipe, who I've already done a review of. Now, in that review I did mention Sunstreaker, so I thought I'd review him. And as I said, they are both Lamborghini Countaches, but Sunstreaker's mode, in vehicle mode, is a modified car, hence the large engine on the top there, and the big spoiler, which is different from the Sideswipe vehicle. You see it there in side view as well, from the back. Is significantly different, although the basic car he's based on is the same. He transforms completely differently from Sideswipe, and for that note is quite good, even back for like G1 to have two similar vehicles but with completely different transformations was quite an unusual feature of the time, because obviously the transformations are also a lot more basic. I'll just run through the parts what he came with. He would have come with 3 of these chromed missiles. He doesn't actually have a weapon as such. These fit into his arms instead of his hands, so you can launch them from his arms or just have them in there like just a weapon. His hands, of course, left and right, which again fit into the arms the same way as the rockets do, and I suppose could be fired off, but that was never a feature they sort of did in the cartoons. And then these sort of rocket booster sort of shoulder parts, not entirely sure. Again, I suppose you could put those in the hands as well, in the arms as well, like the hands. But they're unusual in the fact that sort of like, although they're part of his sort of design, I could never understand quite why they sort of like had those parts, but I'll run through that obviously as I transform him for you. I'll bring him in so you can have a better look. He's a little bit old and tatty because obviously being a genuine G1, these front parts are made of die cast metal, so you get a little bit of paint chipping on the front there, and obviously between the difference between the solid moulded plastic and the clear plastic, which has got a paint coating on it, you get a little bit of colour variation between the two, but that's quite normal. As I say, you get a little bit of paint chipping. And the other thing to obviously watch out for on these as well is the fact that these chrome parts are yellow underneath, and you do get a bit of chrome wear, as such, like with the Insecticon sort of chrome parts as well. But again, that's quite normal, and to be fair, for a toy that's this age, it's not that unexpected. If you could find a real mint one, then he's going to command a really high price, because to get one of these complete is quite expensive. Even like in this sort of state, they do go for quite a good price. I've sort of been lucky in the fact I've had this one for years, and that I didn't have to try and find one these days. Okay, I shall get on and transform him for you. One noticeable thing, and a thing what's missing I'd noticed on a lot of ones what have come up for sale, is this little panel what fits underneath and sort of clips in place just to tidy up the underneath of the car. Anyway, that's just sort of a little bit what hides the kibble of where his arms are folded in the back there. They're folded a little bit like the G1 Jazz sort of arms do, but they go under the bonnet rather than at the back of the car. And you just release those, they're sort of pegged in, and they swing out from the side, if I can get that right. That's it. Obviously you've got to be careful when you're transforming a toy of this age, because obviously the plastic gets a bit brittle, and the last thing you want to do is snap a toy of this age, because the parts are horrendous, as I say. To replace him would cost a small fortune now. You pull the front of the car down to, that's it, to release his legs, so to speak. And then you've got a turn, if I'm right, you've got to pull out, that's it, to the side, the front pieces of the car. Not playing ball with me at the minute. That's it. And they become his feet. Quite large, sort of like feet there. And then you take the whole back section, lift it up, and pull the windscreen part down to become his chest. Now, at this point, I will note that inside you've got the original, like the Diaclone seat, which obviously these cars of the G1 line originally would have been Diaclone toys, so they would have had a little figure in there. But obviously, as it became Transformers, they did away with that. And so you fold down that to become his chest, and his head just pops up by lifting up the engine vents. And that basically, I believe, that's it. And you just fold up that back panel again, tidies up the back of the robot form. Obviously it's quite bland at the back there, but it's more to deal with the front, what you want to look at. And he's not a bad Transformer of the era. He's got a little bit of articulation in his arms at the elbow, but that's pretty much about it. His arms can wobble a little bit, but back in the days of G1 that was good articulation in those days. Now, as I said, you can take the fists and put them in to his arms like so, and as I mentioned, they're on sprung loaded launchers. I mean, not much power in them these days, but so they clip in and could fire off out. And as I said, you could change them out for a missile, so that he's got a missile hand, which is quite nice to have him in that mode where he's got one of each. And the little boosters just go in a small hole on the shoulder. They're not sort of like launchable in so much that mode. I don't know for sure. I assume, no, they didn't actually fit. Oh yes, it does. So you could have a different kind of weapon, I suppose, in that mode. It just about clips into the arm. To be honest though, this is the way they're supposed to be displayed, up on the shoulders. But yeah, he's quite a nice figure. He's definitely one of the main sort of G1 characters, certainly from the cartoon. Him and Sideswipe appeared often together in the earlier cartoons, and being that they were quite a nice sports car Transformer as well, they were popular back in the original, when they were originally for sale back in the 80s. I'm not sure if I've got a couple of stickers missing on my one. I'd have to repro label them, I suppose. But they did come with a red sticker on these arm sections here. But to be fair, I prefer it black anyway, even though they're not on there, because I just think it looks better in the car mode, because a random bit of red just seems a bit odd on a yellow car. It would have made more sense if it had actually been a yellow sticker. But yeah, that's about it really for Sunstreaker. Nearly forgetting his name. I'll bring him in so you can get a decent look at his head sculpt and that as well, which is again a nice G1 head sculpt, which has obviously followed through to like the classics lines and like the alternator lines and that. They've tried to keep true to some of the G1 sort of heritage of these figures. Just bring him in so you can see some of the details. There's some nice leg mouldings as well on there. But they did come with some quite nice little neat sticker applications, and even like on the inside of the legs in there, yeah, it's like a little chrome sticker. But as I say, the back of the actual figure is quite bland, but then most of the G1s were, they didn't have a lot of detail back in those days. But yeah, so that's G1 Sunstreaker. I hope you've enjoyed that review. Please feel free to subscribe, and I shall see you again for another Transformers review.